Hello, welcome to this very special edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian, Pace reporting live here at Highmark Stadium here in Pittsburgh for the 13th annual Pittsburgh International Jazz Festival presented by Citizens. This year blessing the band stage for the very first time, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees and producers Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis are doing something in their career here at the Pittsburgh International Jazz Festival. In the 50 years of their partnership and friendship, this is the first time the two have decided to go on the road and perform not only their hits, but bring some special guests who were part of their hit-making success for the last 40 years. These guys have produced the likes of the SOS Band, Cherrelle, the Human League, Yolanda Adams, Janet Jackson, just to name the many endless few. Tonight I had a chance to sit down candidly to talk to these two brothers, to reflect on their life, talk about their very important mentors in the business, the great Clarence Avant, and also producer and songwriter Leon Silvers. And we also sit down and talk about the role of a record producer. Now tonight's special performance, speeches, guest appearances from the great Nesby, as well as the legendary Cherrelle. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the dynamic duo, the great Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, performing for the very first time at this year's 13th annual Pittsburgh International Jazz Festival, presented by Citizens, here at Highmark Stadium here in Pittsburgh, here on the Pace Report.
Somebody to be good to you. No. There's too many beautiful people in here. I said, how many of y'all want somebody to be good to you? Say yeah. Come on. If you want somebody to be good to you, and I mean real good to you, let me see you put your hands up in the air, just like this. Come on now.
I'm honored to be sitting with two Rock and Roll Hall of Famers, soul legends, prolific songwriters and producers. First, I want to start the interview by asking you about two very important men in your lives that just left us last month. The great Clarence Avant and Jerry Moss of A&M Records. I know that Clarence mentored you guys. He groomed you into this industry. And what are some things that he taught you that you guys are carrying out to this day?
The main thing to me, I mean, there isn't even a main thing, but the overall thing I would say was, I remember he was very adamant about what we were going to be doing with our lives. He asked us, he said, what are you going to be doing in 7 years? And we said, making hits. And he said, no, besides that. And I said, what do you mean? And he says, who's going to get involved with politics? Who's going to get involved with charity? Who's going to get on the boards of companies? Who's going to basically be the next me, the next Barry Gordy, the next whoever? Like, you have to think bigger than just having your next hit. And I thought that was very instructive to us as we went on further in life. And I know me personally, I became the first African-American chairman of the Recording Academy after 50 years. And that happened because of the seeds that Clarence planted. And I remember I called Clarence and I said, hey, they want me to run for the chairman of the Recording Academy. Is this PG?
Well, no, you can say,
He said,
talk to me.
He said, motherfucker, better get your ass in there. They don't let us in that room. And I said, okay. And you know, and I got in that room for that reason. So for me, it was just, it was about the music opportunities that he gave us, but it was the life lessons that he taught us, you know, that I thought were so important.
Yeah. Well, he's so many things, but I'll give a simple parable that everyone can understand. We first got to LA, and in LA there's that Hollywood sign. As you're driving down Sunset, everybody tries to find the Hollywood sign. Some of the simplest, greatest advice he ever told us was, don't look at the Hollywood sign. It's a metaphor. Don't look at the Hollywood sign while you're driving, because you're going to crash. What he meant by that was, don't think looking at the Hollywood sign changes anything for you. Pay attention to what you're doing, because that Hollywood sign will make you crash. It will bend your neck and change your career and drive you into an accident.
It's a distraction.
It's a distraction. So you can be in Hollywood, but don't be of Hollywood.
Yeah.
And what that did is it gave us a lesson to where we paid attention to our music in our lives, and we kept ourselves out of trouble that way.
And we got to talk about Jerry Moss, because A&M Records was a heavyweight independent label in the 60s, 70s, up until the time they sold. And the canon of artists that Mr. Alpert and Mr. Moss put out there, we're talking Supertramp, we're talking Janet Jackson, we're talking Peter Frampton,
The Police.
Yeah, the Police. I mean,
Quincy Jones.
yeah, Quincy Jones, CTI, the whole. And I look at the canon of artists that Mr. Moss and Mr. Alpert put out there. Mr. Alpert had them ears. He's a great producer, but Mr. Moss was behind the scenes. He was the true businessman. What are your reflections here now?
Well, first of all, as a duo, as a team, they were definitely, examples to Terry and myself. And very similarly, they shook hands. Their deal was a handshake, as ours was a handshake. That's our deal. And so I think we always liked that about them. We also liked about them that when you talk about, first of all, Jerry and Clarence were really good friends. And I remember when we were going to do the Rhythm Nation album, and there was some negotiations and some different things happening. And for a minute, it looked like we weren't going to do the album. And I remember Janet called us and said, "Hey, do you guys want to do the album?" And we said, "Yeah." "Do you want us to do the album?" She said, "Yeah." "Well, what's the problem?" I said, "I don't know." So we called Clarence, and he said, "Okay." And him and Jerry talked, and literally 2 days later, we were in the studio. So Jerry and Clarence had that great relationship where, Jerry just allowed things to happen. He just was like, okay, Clarence says this is cool, then this is going to happen. And he allowed us, if you think about what A&M did, and when they sold, interestingly enough, that was when they were able to finance Perspective Records. So Sounds of Blackness, Mint Condition, Low Key, the More Money soundtrack, Solo, all of those records happened because of Jerry Moss and the relationship with A&M Records that he had. So it's all important, you know. And Jerry, wonderful person.
Another very important part of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and this is a man I believe critically underrated, the great Leon Sylvers. Leon Sylvers, at a time when he came out, just the canon of the Whispers, Gladys Knight with Pips, Shalimar, there was this sound that he had with that bass, but there were these hit records that he was producing. How did he mentor you guys to become great record guys?
Well, as a producer, I probably learned, I would say, the most from between Leon and Prince. You know, Prince was very loose, very fluid about his method. Leon was very rigid about his method and his vocal production. And he taught us, I mean, we thought we were pretty decent producers. And he taught us that we weren't, because his thing was, you have to learn how to do the vocals first before you call yourself a producer. Making a track, anyone can make a track. Well, I can't really say that because anyone can make a track. Everyone can make a track, but it don't have to be good.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
Not
so,
a good track.
Yeah, not a good track.
Yeah.
But he made us really focus on interfacing with the vocalists and combining that great track making skills with great vocal making skills. So Leon was the catalyst for it.
Whoa! Y'all ready for Saturday Love?
Get up on this one. Let's
Come
go,
on, get on
y'all.
the beat. Here we go, here we go. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't hear y'all. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Come on now, y'all. Get up out your seat. It's Saturday night. Pittsburgh Jazz Festival. Here we go. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
you working with vocalists, Mary Davis from SOS Band, Janet Jackson, Alexander O'Neal, what are some of the things that made you better producers working with them, and what were some things that as vocalists you made them better or made them worse? Sometimes a record producer can kill the project just because they don't have good ears.
That's not a producer, that's a reducer.
Yeah. True.
Let's
Very
get it
true.
right.
Very true.
That's a reducer. A producer allows the artist to be the artist, and what you do is you try to find the best in the artist. And we were fans of all the people that we worked with, so we were just trying to pick and choose what we thought was best for them. Like, we were fans of Mary Davis from the Sagidi records.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, I love the SOS Band. What can we find that we can add to that to make this great? And so that's how we took the job and made it happen. And then the interface came because Leon Silvers produced one of our records, High Hopes, for the SOS Band. And so when we met with Clarence, he asked us what would we have done different on that record. And we just said we put the chili sauce on it. And he said, okay, I like that. He said, I'm gonna give you a shot. And he did.
Leon allowed us to be in the studio, man. Like, he just opened the studio up to us and said, just basically go learn, is what he was saying. Go figure it out. And we did. And Leon was very meticulous about the vocals and stuff. Like, we couldn't get a vocal as good as Leon.
Not even close.
No, not even close.
Do you think that had a lot to do with him being in the Silvers, with the harmony with his brothers and sisters, knowing how they had to fill in, ad-lib? Do you think that came from the Silvers?
I think a lot of it is just, you can't teach experience.
Exactly.
And he had the experience in that, growing up in that family, and writing those songs and arranging those songs, those amazing records. So yeah, he definitely had that. But we were able to take a little bit of what he did, kind of the meticulousness of it, and combine it, as Terry said earlier, with Prince, who was another one of our professors, our teachers, with kind of the looseness and spontaneity that Prince made records with. And what we did was kind of a hybrid of both. And I think the idea is, with any artist or with any singer, as Terry said, try to find the strengths that they have. So we try to write songs that are the strength of the artist. Janet was always a good example. As Terry said, she had a sweet voice, but she also had all this attitude. And when we'd watch like her old TV shows and all the stuff she was on, it was all this attitude. So when we did the Control album, we were just trying to get that attitude back that we knew she had as a kid. And when we did Control, when we did Nasty, songs like Nasty, and she was like, yeah, like, okay, I get it. And help her find herself again. But also encourage her to write. That what she talked about, what we talked about, that those ideas were valid ideas as a songwriter. And that got her excited about writing. So it's really about empowering the artists to be as much involved as they want to be, and we love when the artists jump into it.
Jimmy Jam and Taylor's, tell my viewers what the role and the duties of a producer. What are the things that you do when you're putting a record together for an artist or group?
How long do we have?
Yeah. I think the simple answer, or the analogy that is a simple analogy for people, is when you watch a film, you know what a director does. He's the one that's coaching someone how to say the dialogue or whatever. I think that's part of what a producer does, is about the performance, is giving the good performance. And you have to take a lot of things into consideration. Do people like, to work late? Do they like to work early? Can they work really quickly? Like, do they a concentrated hour and they're done? Or do they like to work for 6 or 7 hours? Do they like the lights up high? Do they like it low? Do they like people hanging around the studio? Do they like nobody hanging around the studio? It's all those things. And the most important part of it, well, not the most important part of it, but the other element of it is the kind of the psychiatry or the psychology of it. Sometimes people just aren't in the mood to work, or just their voice isn't there, and you just say, hey, let's go see a movie, or let's just chill today, or whatever. So it's really about finding the best way to get the best performance. Some of it is technical, some of it is knowing the instrumentation and, you know, whether you're going to do live strings or a drum machine or a real drummer, or those kind of choices. But I think the psychology and the psychiatry of it is probably the most important.
Okay, so this next special guest, there's a lot of different monikers that we hear, the Queen and different types of things like that. But this next young lady, we just like to call the voice. Uh-oh.
That's right.
The people on the couch back here, they said, let me say that one more time. The voice. All right. Make sure everybody hears me. So, without any further ado, the voice of Nesby.
the world knows you from the Sounds of Blackness.
Blackness.
How did you link up with that group and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis?
I came to Minneapolis 1988 to do theater with Sounds of Blackness. Actually, Sounds of Blackness is also a theatrical company, and I came in to do the Christmas show the night before Christmas that Sounds of Blackness went on to garner a Grammy for. And I came in and played the mother in the role of the night before Christmas. Sang at the concert. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis brought Janet into the show to get away from the studio, the monotony of everyday studio. And she was sitting in the audience with them, and she started punching them with her elbow, saying, "You guys got to put this out there because there's nothing like that in the industry." Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis met the group afterwards, and they told us that they were doing a label, and they wanted to do Sounds of Blackness because they had a relationship in the city with the Minneapolis sound, Sounds of Blackness being there with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. And I went in and recorded with the group, and I went in and do a scratch vocal for another lead singer that they were going to feature as the lead for Sounds of Blackness. And Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis asked me to do the scratch. I did the scratch, and they said, "We're going to use you." And that was the rest of history for me with Sounds of Blackness.
What's it like working with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis as producers?
Working with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis as producer is the best of both worlds, and that they are phenomenal producers, but they're also artists in their own right. So they understand the plight of the artist, and they understand the mood of the artist, and they know the artist's voice, and they have a way of pitching songs that fit each personality and the voice of the artist. So it was absolutely wonderful for me because they taught me the business, teaching me about earning collateral to take care of your own business, allowing me to write for other artists, bringing me on as a writer with Flyte Tyme. And it was just absolutely wonderful to start my career with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Oh, this one. Let's go.
What have you done for me?
This is the 50th anniversary of you guys meeting each other. How did you guys meet?
Well, what I remember is we were in a program called Upward Bound at the University of Minnesota. But we were just in junior high school at the time. And we were checking into dorms. It was like a 6-week program. We spent the summer at the University of Minnesota. And I remember seeing Terry for the first time sitting on his bed in his dorm playing this red, black, and green bass. And he was playing Cool in the Gang bass part. And I just looked at him and I said, I got to get to know this brother. Like, it was just love at first sight when I saw him.
I saw Jimmy Jam on the lunch break playing pianos, because he had several pianos in there, and he had girls gathered all around the piano, and he was playing and serenading these girls. And I said, okay, I got to know this dude because he got the girls. So that was the beginning of a great relationship.
Terry said, let's put a band together, man, and play, the little year-end school thing. And we did. And Terry was the one that got me playing keyboards because I was a drummer. And Terry said, I already got a drummer, who was Jellybean Johnson. Yeah. He said, I already got a drummer. Play the keyboards. Your dad plays keyboards. You should be able to play the keyboards. I was like, okay. And I switched over to keyboards because of that. And that was 1973. And we've been together ever since. June 17th, 1973.
Tell me your first concert you went to. What was the first rock R&B concert you guys went to?
First one I went to was Chicago. That was my favorite group growing up. My mom and dad took me. I thought we had the best seats in the house. They were actually behind the stage because they didn't have big backdrops and stuff, so you could sit behind the stage. And I didn't know they were like the cheap seats. I thought they were like the best seats because I could watch the drummer do his thing. I could watch the keyboard player do his thing. So for me, it was great. But that was my favorite.
So you like Robert Lamb?
I love Robert Lamb. We're actually good friends now. And
really?
We went into the Songwriters Hall of Fame the same year.
Wow.
Which was pretty amazing. And we met there for the first time. And we stay in touch. Matter of fact, I saw him 3 weeks ago. I went to see Chicago at the Greek Theater in LA. Mm-hmm. So we just saw each other recently.
What was yours?
I can't remember my first concert, to be honest with you, but the most impactful concert I ever saw in my life was a P-Funk concert.
Mm-hmm. So this is when the spaceship, okay.
No, even before that, bro. It's like the funk was just hot. Like, I love people just being free with their music, and they were just all over the place. They had no boundaries. They were playing rock and roll. They played some jazz hits, just depending on who was there that day. They had the greatest bassists. They had the greatest drummers. Funkadelic. I was nose wide open for them.
So when we're talking about George Clinton, as a producer and as a visionary, what were some of the things that you took and tried to incorporate into your music from George Clinton?
Being the box, not thinking outside the box, being the box. He had no limitations. He could expand or contract as he wanted to. He could be as zany as he wants to. I always say that about black music. Sometimes it puts itself in a little tiny box. We feel like we can't sing about things other than the club, being in love or being out of love or whatever. There's like 3 or 4 things we can sing about. And we can't sing about stupid stuff like George did. George gave us an opportunity to just have fun.
Right.
And just to be free. And that's the thing I love about George. He's zany. He thinks outside the box. And because he has no limitations, he is that box.
Richard Pryor said George Clinton got blackballed through Watergate, and there's some validity to that. There's a lot of validity to that.
Well, but he also, in that, taught black people what was going on.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, don't trust your eyes.
Yeah.
Trust your eyes. You see it.
All right. Well, hope you all are having a good time tonight. Are we doing all right so far? All right. So we're going to do a little something you may know, you may not know, but we think it's appropriate. For those of you that don't know, Terry and I are celebrating our 50th year together this year. We met back in 1973, or as we like to say, 19 and 73, because it's so far back you got to put an and on it. But we've enjoyed every minute of being together and being with you this evening. But we also are aware that we've lost a lot of really important people in our lives. And it's important to look back on those moments and appreciate it while we're all here. So we have a song that we did with Alexander O'Neal called Sentimental. And we'd like to do a little bit of that for you right now, if you allow us. Kevin Ford, ladies and gentlemen. Rest in peace, Mama Lewis. Take a walk down memory lane and see where the path might lead you. We all go a million changes, but in our minds they stay the same. I can hear the voice of my mama calling out her children's name. She said, come on in, it's dinner time. Let me help my baby fix their plates. We all have memories that we should not forget. The times that become part of our life, person so heartfelt. Cause when I think of you, here's the reason I get sentimental thoughts. Yes, I get sentimental. She's wonderful. Oh my God, hey, yeah. Oh, she's marvelous. That's what she was. Ooh, lovable. You know my heart won't go, 'cause when I think of you, mama, I stay so much in love. Oh,
I read Morris Day's autobiography, and he was a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Not just a drummer.
Not just drummer.
He's a great drummer.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear that from both. I wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Let me confirm it. Morris Day.
Because he
One of the
said,
greatest drummers I've ever seen.
really,
Absolutely.
he cites one of his favorite bands was Maharishi Orchestra. I'm thinking, you know, Billy Cobham, John McLaughlin. I'm thinking, oh my God. So he really was the truth.
Yeah.
David Garibaldi from Tower of Power was his favorite drummer. And, you know, no, Morris, well, he could play the heck out of those drums. He still can, though. Matter of fact, I told him he's doing some Vegas dates, and I said, I know you will get on the drums and do some stuff. And I think I posted on my social media, I posted something that he did like 2 or 3 years ago, playing the drums, just stirring it up and killing it. And I said, come on, man, gotta have you on them drums. And he said, okay, I'm gonna do it. I said, okay, cool.
Do you know who else was a tremendous drummer? A lot of people don't know this, but you can look it on YouTube. Teddy Pendergrass was a hell of a drummer and a percussionist. Why do you think he shifted? What was the real shift from drums to vocal? I mean,
if I could sing like that, I'd be shifting to vocals too.
If I was Teddy,
no, not Teddy. I'm talking about Morris Day.
I was gonna say nobody do no panties on the stage.
Exactly. For the drummer ain't getting the panties on. When that happens, that's going to be a trick to it.
Yes.
No, Morris, it was almost a little bit by default. Alexander O'Neal was the lead singer, who was going to be the lead singer at the time. And Alex, we had a meeting, and Alex put a bunch of demands down where he needed a house, and he needed a car, and he needed payment, and he needed all this stuff. And Prince was like, you're done.
Didn't work out.
It didn't work out. So Jellybean, it was cool because we had the conflict was that Jellybean was a drummer and Morris was a drummer. So we were trying to figure out, well, how are we going to work that out? But Alex caused it to work out when he got fired, or when the fire was released. When he got released, then it became simple. Jellybean got on the drums, Morris came in front, and that was it. The time was born.
Jamie Starr, a.k.a. Prince Rogers Nelson, Prince. Those first two records the time did were extremely groundbreaking. And I say groundbreaking because there weren't any groups doing the music that y'all were doing. Looking back some 40 years now, what do you think about Prince and his legacy now? And what do you think about those first two Time records now?
Well, there's not a day that we live that we don't think about Prince in some way. Whether it's an influence of something, whether it's a decision we're making, we are here to make him proud,
Yes.
as we always have been. The impact of those records that it had as a launching pad for our career, and the credibility those records gave us to walk into, to have Leon Silvers let us in the studio, and to have Clarence Avant trust us, and so on and so forth. It was almost like if you said, oh, you guys are in the Time. It was like instant validity, So I can't say enough thank yous to Prince. And to me, he's one of those people that, as great as you think he is, the more that you study and the more you hear, it only gets greater. It only gets greater. His legacy only gets greater. So we thank Prince. It's the reason we're sitting here today is because of him.
Andre Simone told me a very deep story about how you guys were really like a band of brothers. He really didn't take that lightly. He said he came through the school of Prince. Somehow, some way, you're still doing something that you're doing 30, 40, 50 years, 60 years down the road. So that holds true.
By the way, I'll just say, for me, the biggest thing that Prince taught us was work ethic. Because, it's one thing to have the talent. We're not going to ever emulate the amount of talent that Prince has. We're just not. It's not going to happen. It's impossible. But the work ethic that he had, where he would come rehearse the Time for 6 hours, and he'd go rehearse the Revolution for 6 hours, and then he'd go to the studio all night long, and then he'd come back the next day to our rehearsal and pop a cassette in and say, I did this last night, and put it on, it'd be 1999 or something crazy. That kind of work ethic was unbelievable. And it would be that kind of work ethic you'd expect from someone who wasn't talented. But from someone who already had more talent than everybody else to outwork everybody like that, that was the thing to me that just showed me, okay, this is what we need to do. And even he saw me better than I saw myself. He had me doing stuff that I was like, I can't do that, I can't do that. And he would drill me on it, and then I'd be able to do it, and I'd go like, oh shit, okay.
Just ask me where I'm going. I won't be ashamed to tell you I live my life knowing all the roads ahead of me are filled with peace and love. Every step so heavenly, all the backside of. Oh, miracles and dreams, real life for me. How they nothing seems impossible if you believe.
Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, what does soul music mean to you?
Well, to me, it's just music that reaches your soul. I don't think it's necessarily, I guess I don't think of it so much as a type of music, but a feeling that you get when you hear the music.
Exactly. I agree.
Ditto.
Yeah.
Is there an artist that came in your trajectory that you regret not working with now?
My bag of regret is very light. I wish we would have had the opportunity to spend some time with Whitney.
Wow.
And create a project with her after all the things she went through, because I think it would have been fantastic. Other than that,
Yeah.
you know, still open because we're still here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you, brothers.
All right,
Thank you, brother.
Hey, that Chaka Khan record y'all did. Y'all need to work with her again.
Thank you.
We
We'd
love
love
Chaka.
to. We love Chaka. Volume 2. Gianna Lewis, Volume 2.
That'll do it again for this very special edition of the Pace Report. Reporting live at this year's 13th annual Pittsburgh International Jazz Festival, presented by Citizens, here at Highmark Stadium, here in Pittsburgh. I'd like to personally thank the incomparable Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis for their time. Congratulations on your induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and thank you for continuing to the great legacy of black music that you have continually given the world. I'd like to personally thank Miss Janice Burley, the artistic director of the 13th annual Pittsburgh International Jazz Festival, and her staff for allowing me here to cover as well as be part of this event. I can't stress this more than enough, people. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos here on YouTube and Vimeo, as well as leave comments. Also follow me on social media by way of Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time,
David Gideon on the bass.
peace.